Reading the plus and welcome to news. That's for the news for the news culture department here at the Renaissance Communications Incorporated. Today is Wednesday, 19th November 2025. My name is Johnson Emanuel presenting the airline's former assistant foreign minister of affairs. The Supreme criticizes the Barker administration for what he describes as a questionable $20 million United States dollars project in Foya, Lofa County. Participants of a day-long public hearing organized by the Liberia Electricity Regulatory Commission called for major reforms within the country's electricity sector. Barely a day following Filipino's push for swift passage of the Women and Girls Protection Act, House of Representatives voted in favor of the draft bill to ban harmful practices for Representative Sarah Marvin Cole raises a motion calling for extensive nationwide consultations on the way for Liberia, claiming authorities paid tours to Judge James Z. Protesters Amnesty says this was minimal. The reading of the most volatile sports or package on today's edition of the program is this. Take a break, I'll be back.
President Joseph Boakai ordered the Liberia Telecommunications Authority to halt all dealings with Telecom International Alliance, or TIA, the company hired to monitor Liberia's telecom traffic. Under the contract, TIA was tasked with tracking national and international calls, data usage, and mobile money transactions.
For rejoining us, we are powered by Orange Liberia and EcoBank Liberia Limited. By this point, we join Emmanuel Sassi to set the pace for the reading of the news bulletin. Former Assistant Minister for Public Affairs at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Sylvester Peary, has criticized the Barack Obama administration over what he described as a questionable US $10 million project in Foya, Lofa County. Speaking Wednesday on the AFM in Ovia, Peewee alleged that project is yet to be justified. It's being treated like a retirement palace for President Joseph Boakai. Peewee further claimed that a deputy minister of information initially attempted to link the project to the Manu Rural Union, the MRU, but later withdrew the statement when contacted for verification. According to Peewee, the deputy minister dismissed his earlier comments as just a Facebook post. He also accused the government of sourcing money from multiple ministries and agencies to support the project, suggesting attempts to tie it to the Workers' Foundation. The former Assistant Minister for Public Affairs therefore praised Foreign Minister Sarah Yanti for level of work and engagement, something he said has led to Liberia's qualification on the United Nations Security Council. Several participants at a day-long public hearing hosted by the Liberia Electricity Regulatory Commission are calling for major reforms within the country's electricity sector. The Liberia Electricity Regulatory Commission (LERC) on Wednesday convened a public hearing to review the Liberia Electricity Corporation's application for an adjustment in electricity tariff. The interactive section brought together community leaders, youth groups, student representatives, and government officials. During the event, authorities from the Liberia Electricity Corporation (LEC) made a detailed presentation on the proposed tariff changes. During the question and answer segment, several participants complained about bureaucratic delays they continue to face when seeking services from the LEC. They appealed to the corporation's management to strengthen the decentralized services in order to help electricity theft and improve access nationwide. Giving an overview of the event earlier, the chairman of the Board of Commissioners, Claude Carter, disclosed that the meeting was intended to educate and solicit the views of participants. Deputy Minister for Mines at the Ministry of Mines and Energy, Charles Umehe, emphasized that reliable and affordable electricity remains essential for the well-being of Liberians. He reaffirmed the government's commitment to expanding and improving power supply across the country. Meanwhile, the senior commercial manager at Liberia Electricity Corporation, George Tawala, delivered a special presentation outlining the details of the proposed tariff structure. Also speaking was the country manager of Transport CLSG, Jerry Taylor, highlighted the challenges associated in supplying electricity. The public hearing forms part of ongoing national efforts to ensure transparency and efficiency in electricity regulation and service delivery. The House of Representatives has voted in favor of the draft bill to ban harmful practices, including female genital mutilation, the FGM, to citizens across all 73 districts for broader engagement before a final decision is made. The decision was reached during Tuesday's sitting following the presentation of a preliminary report from the Joint Committee on Gender, Internal Affairs and Judiciary chaired by Mohamed Bush Mensah. The committee earlier mandated the bill submitted by the president seeking to prohibit often harmful head and opened for discussion. Representative Marvin Poole of Long County District 3 raised a motion calling for extensive nationwide consultations. Representative Poole argued that the draft budget, given its cultural and social significance, must be thoroughly discussed with citizens, especially those in communities directly affected by the proposed changes. He emphasized the need for inclusive dialogue, noting that people must be given the space to express their views, concerns, and recommendations before the legislature proceeds with any final action. Following deliberations, the plenary endorsed the motion, allowing the draft bill to be taken to all 73 districts for stakeholder consultations, community dialogues, and public engagements. The House emphasized that the outreach process will ensure that the final decision reflects the will of the people while balancing human rights, cultural considerations, and national development priorities. Residents of Dupu Road, Waterside community have expressed profound gratitude to Renaissance Communications Incorporated Director General liability for what they described as a timely intervention through the donation of essential working tools. According to them, the items donated will buttress their efforts in the area ahead of upcoming cleaning up exercise in the community. Speaking Wednesday, the community leadership emphasized that Ability has consistently demonstrated commitment as a private resident in District 4. They said Ability's gesture is beyond human imagination, highlighting that Ability continues to support every community initiative despite not holding elected office in the district. In remarks, Liability revealed that the youth leadership recently approached him seeking support to participate in a community cleanup exercise. According to him, the donation comes as a result of a request made by youth of the area in support of their planned cleaning up exercises in the area. He promised to continue identifying people, especially activities that will have long-lasting benefits on residents in the area. At the same time, a Liberia entrepreneur, Teresa Wifa, has appreciated Renaissance Communications Incorporated Director General liability for his immense contribution to the society. Madam Wifa, who is the founder of the Wifa Foundation, an institution that is noted for producing locally made country clothes, recognized liability's contribution to the youth population, especially in the musical industry. According to her, ability has made lasting marks in promoting Liberian culture through music and other areas. As such, her institution, that is also in the business of promotion of Liberian culture, deemed it necessary to recognize the efforts of ability. She spoke Wednesday when officially presenting one of the locally made country clothes thrift to liability. In response, RCR Director General Liability thanked Wither Foundation through its head, Madam Teresa Wefer, for the recognition, terming it as a surprise. Ability promised to work with the Wither Foundation team in terms of promotion while reaffirming his commitment to youth development. Prosecuting and defense lawyers are yet to complete a full panel of jurors in the case involving former Speaker Funati Kofa and 14 others at Criminal Court A. Both legal teams, according to our judicial correspondent, are very careful as to who to select in hearing their high-profile case that before the court litigation. During the jurors' selection on Tuesday and Wednesday, over 20 prospective jurors were rejected by both prosecuting and defense lawyers from sitting on the case for several legal reasons consistent with law. Jurors' selection enters its second day on November 19, with only 11 persons being selected and 4 persons left to complete the full panel consistent with law. Our judicial correspondent said that the selection of jurors was trickled by former House Speaker Funati Kofa and 14 others not guilty plead in open court. The defendant's pleas have since shifted the burden of proof on state lawyers to prove their claims against them, consistent with Chapter 25, Section 25.5 of the Criminal Procedure Law of Liberia. Defendant Kofa and 14 others are on trial for allegedly burning portion of the Capitol building on December 18, 2024. They were charged with multiple offenses ranging from arson, criminal conspiracy, criminal facilitation, criminal attempt to commit murder, and endangering the lives of others, among others. The Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, LDA, has officially opened its structure and policy reform validation section to the public. Speaking at a workshop in Monrovia, the officer in charge of the LDA emphasized that the policies are not merely documents, but guiding frameworks that play a meaningful role in shaping institutional decisions. He noted that for any policy to be effective, it must be grounded in evidence and should clearly reflect the aim and mandate of the institution rather than representing the interests of a small group of individuals. He added that policies should also align with current day realities and outline the challenges and changes needed to strengthen the future of the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency. The LDA officer in charge explained that the primary purpose of the structure and policy reform validation section is to work collaboratively to identify gaps and determine what should be improved within the agency. Fazara Biako is calling on agents of LDA to take proactive ownership of the process and help develop strong, impactful policies that will transform the agency moving forward. Meanwhile, Biako has expressed strong confidence stating that after the reform policy validation framework is completed, the LDA will have a reform validation policy that is about forward-looking and implementable that will help develop policies for the next generation. It also stated that there are other documents that have not yet been implemented by the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency and emphasized that the need for a policy that will fully align with the institution's mandate is significant. Yako also extended thanks to the government of Liberia and all partners for their contributions to the success of the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, noting that their partnership has strengthened the overall well-being of the institution. A prominent son of Nimba County has sharply criticized Montserrat County Senator Ibrahim Darius Dillon, accusing him of allegedly tarnishing the long-standing reputation of Nimba County. In an open letter, Nathan Berger said the senator remarks had cast a shadow over the esteemed reputation of the county widely credited for championing peace, transparency, and unity. He argued that as chairman of the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs, Dillon carries significant influence at home and abroad. The communication described Nimba as a historic symbol of stability and inclusivity with communities that have endured hardship while prioritizing dialogue and accountability. Biaga warned that portraying the county in a negative light risks eroding national trust and undermining the values that have guided Nimba's contribution to Liberia's progress. Biaga also reflected on Nimba's political support for national leaders, noting that many urged Dillon to retract or clarify the statement and to embrace the discourse that strengthens national unity rather than deepens division. The letter concluded with a call for constructive engagement to reinforce the bonds that sustain Liberia's resilience. The Forum for African Women Educationalists, FAWI Liberia, has officially launched its 2024-2028 strategic plan, along with the FAWI Master and Foundation Phase 2 REACH program, an initiative aimed at expanding access to education for marginalized girls and young women across Liberia. Serving as launcher for the program, Liberia's Education Minister Dr. Johnson Emanuel described the initiative as a vital stepping stone for girls who are often at risk of dropping out of school. She emphasized that the Bridge program is designed to ensure that young women are not dropping out or are being pushed up through strengthening the support system and targeted education opportunities. According to Minister Jala, Phase 2 of the program will expand its reach to 21 universities and 35 technical and vocational education training (TVET) institutions across Liberia. She noted that the initiative is part of a broader 10-country African efforts aimed at supporting 10,550 marginalized youth through quality education and skill development. For his part, Fawi Liberia's executive director, Malayas Sharif, highlighted the organization's long-standing contribution to education quality. He disclosed that over the years, Fawi Liberia has awarded 16,804 scholarships, positively impacting at least 34,233 lives in Liberia. Director Salif Ashiri emphasized that Fawi Liberia envisions an equitable and inclusive society that empowers all girls and women through quality education and training to help them realize their full potential. Also speaking at the launch event, Dr. Myean, chairperson of the Fawi Liberia's board, reaffirmed the institution's strong commitment to youth empowerment and education. She expressed excitement over the implementation of the British program in Liberia, noting that it aligns with Fawi's mission of transforming the lives of young women through increased access to learning opportunities. The founders of the United Blind Association have rejected a recently held secret election organized by Lahad Gotulu and the National Union of Organizations, declaring the process illegitimate and not represented as representative of the association. The United Blind Association has already conducted two recognized elections, one in 2024 and another in 2025, both monitored by the court, the police, and the National Union of Organizations, and both resulting in the election of Wilfred G1. These elections were widely described as free, fair, and transparent. According to the founders, the recent third election was held outside the association's headquarters and saw the declaration of former President Augustine Tobe, who has twice been defeated in previous polls. Speaking at a news conference in Monrovia, Lead Incorporated Peter Mark Camille stated that the funders do not accept or recognize the secret election results. The Iowa called for peaceful dialogue to resolve the ongoing internal crisis, noting that the prolonged dispute continues to undermine the association's progress. Canio urged both parties to remain calm and appeal to the public to cooperate with the incorporators as efforts continue toward a peaceful resolution. Meanwhile, the association president Wilfred Gibbon welcomed the founders' position and pledged to work in the best interest of the institution. He also called on Augustine Toby to accept the incorporators' decision and embrace dialogue for the sake of unity within the association. The Director General of the General Services Agency, Gapa Kotimo, has commended the initiatives being implemented by the Confident Bureau Institute and pledged his full support to the institution. Speaking to RCR News, Kotiman praised the institution's programs, noting that they are making unwavering contributions to the growth and advancement of young people across Liberia. He encouraged students in the Technical and Vocational Education and Training Program (TVET) sector to remain patient and dedicated, emphasizing that success is built on hard work and perseverance. Kotiman also expressed a strong desire for CBR to establish a branch in Zoso Lufa County, stating that such an expansion will help educate and empower youth in that region. The GSA Director General reaffirmed his commitment to supporting vocational institutions and pledged logistical assistance to CBR to enhance students' practical learning experiences. The National Food Assistance Agency has officially certificated and honored six retired employees serving the country into 19 years at the NFAA. Speaking during the recognition program in Morocco on Wednesday, NFAA Director General Waka Salih, on behalf of President Joseph Waka, thanked the six retired employees for serving the agency in various positions, giving their youthfulness to the service of the Liberian people. Salih cautioned them that they should consider their retirement not as an end in life, but an encouragement for them to continue to provide their services in other fields and areas of life. Responding on behalf of the retirees, the former Human Resource Director of the NFAA, Mary Cumming, thanked the management team of the NFAA and staff for honoring and giving them gifts for their services at the agency. She commended Salif and the management of NFAA for bringing the agency to its pre-war status and assured them that they will always be available if the need arises. The program was written by Bob Atto, Deputy Director General for Administration, Elton Dixon, Deputy Director General for Operations, members and senior staff of the NFAA, a relative of the retirees. Now, outside of Liberia, the Kenyan authorities pay a network of trolls to threaten and intimidate young protesters during recent anti-government demonstrations. Amnesty International has said. The new report by the Human Rights Organization said government agencies also employed surveillance and disinformation to target organizers of the mass protest, which swept Kenya across 2024 and 2025. The demonstrations were driven largely by Gen Z activists who used social media platforms to mobilize. In response to Amnesty's report, Kenya's Interior Minister said the government does not sanction harassment or violence against any citizen. But Amnesty said it had unfurled a campaign to silence and suppress the protesters. Young women and LGBT activists were disproportionately targeted with misogynistic and homophobic comments, as well as AI-generated pornography images, the report said. The BBC has approached the government for comment. Lord Johnson, that's it for the news bulletin. Let's come back to you for continuation of the program.
Okay, so welcome to the closing argument. We are coming to you live from Grand Bassa County, specifically the Care Africa Medical Foundation Health Center. And today we are here to have a tour of this facility.
Bulletin is a regular feature on this, thanks to Emmanuel C. Here with the reading of the news bulletin. If you are just joining us, this is news desk for the 5 minute news from the News and Current Affairs Department here at the Renaissance Communications Incorporated. My name is Johnson Emanuel, presenting in one of our top developments. Barely a day, entrepreneurs push for swift passage of the Women and Girls Protection Act. House of Representatives voted if you or try to go to ban harmful practices. But Representative Josiah Mabiko raises a motion calling for extensive legal consultations. Let's bring it our first development on the program. Former Assistant Minister for Public Affairs at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Western Province has criticized the administration for what he described as the questionable $10 billion United States project in Lofa County. Speaking Wednesday on OK Monrovia, people alleged that the project is yet to be justified is being treated like a retirement policy for President Joseph Boakai. The roles of Sylvester Pewee, former Assistant Minister for Public Affairs at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, speaking as the former Minister for Public Affairs, therefore praised Foreign Minister Sarah Esposito for the level of work and engagement that he said has led Liberia's qualification on the United Nations Security Council. That's the voice of former Assistant Minister for Public Affairs at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Sylvester Pewee, today on OK FM. Several participants at a public hearing hosted by the Liberia Electricity Regulatory Authority, that's Commission, are calling for major reform within the country's electricity sector. The Liberia Electricity Regulatory Commission, LERC, on Wednesday convened a public hearing to review the Liberia Electricity Corporation's application for an adjustment in electricity tariff. During the question and answer segment, several participants complained about bureaucratic delays they continue to face when asking or when seeking services from the LEC. The suppose of a participancy, the speaking giving the overview of the event earlier. Chairman of the Board of Commissioners disclosed that the meeting was intended to educate and solicit the views of the participants. Deputy Minister for Mines and Mines and Energy, Charles, you emphasized that reliable and affordable electricity remains essential for the well-being of Nigerians.
It was an honor to join you today for this important tariff application ceremony. And exercise that sits at the heart of growing and transparent, predictable, and financial electricity sector for the country. Today is one level of consumer requirement. It is a demonstration of effective commitment, flexibility, reform, and service delivery by people like you. As many of you know, reliable and very affordable electricity is central to the government's implementation. From stimulating private sector growth to powering digital transformation and modernization.
Meanwhile, the senior commercial manager at the Liberian Electricity Corporation, George Tawala, delivered a special presentation outlining the details of the proposed tariff structure. We hope to bring you that in our subsequent broadcast. At this point, we join Naomi Tapia to bring us the personal last sports here on News Desk. Good evening.
Welcome to the question of the life. We have not put constitution to the women's football party woman and national festival for girls aged 6 to 12 which participations to the women's football university. The past president of the University Association and so to conference committees and the nation of the days. Overall, the public has announced all yes, after 12 years, constant time, will show consistency with the and of the gradual which included some official specification of individual's constitution was followed with the customized set of books in appreciation of his exceptional contribution. Certifications related to Tuesday one section of a kind of more specific marketing and media or idea asking of announced within the club's 8 years constitution visit in Republic and Catholic season. The state partnership began in 2018. The current deal is reported of more than 10 million euros per year, but it has come on the spotlight and increased the violence in the Democratic Republic of Congo, which the global Rwanda blew the framework of the peace deal between Rwanda and the two rebels and the Buddhist government was signed earlier this week. The President's GSM that sponsorship would receive Rwanda in 2028. The Rwanda command signed a 2-year deal to on their end and shares this easy, which is very access to the digital process. The partnership has placed on the internet levels in West in the long-term vision to be topics in financial sustainability, integrate their contribute to ESG and credit, who are also sponsors of this law, during the block states, news and real and excellent humanitarian crisis in the country. It has been renamed of this suggested as the student with the president of the champions receiving our tower PS to the last segment with the Bangladesh and distributed components to cover up the basic local kids. They defeated Nicaragua to deserve the power for just less World Cup. This current manager after never been to the Caribbean island. The teams to declare system being appointed 18 months ago because of conflict in the country forces the declare the whole African Panama's away outsourced and nation just as the foot of top American to Venezuela. This which is devastating for the country has been Togo and then after almost half the nation's Foreign research Jamaica was often start when we were a limited income for the first one of since 1990 to the US store, income and interest benefit of the rate, but we are some was was not again possibilities will become almost work age 78, reaching total just record. He was charged of this age 21 in 2010. However, the reserve market Venezuela coast with the key country would be the king of the Netherlands in 2010. That's what was
Now, being popular international sports is a regular tutor here on News Desk. Let's bring you more developments on the program. Residents of Duput Rural Waterside Community have expressed profound gratitude to Renaissance Communications Incorporated CEO liability for what they describe as a timely intervention with the donation of a working tool. According to them, items donated will buttress the efforts in the area ahead of the upcoming of exercise in the community. Residents of Duput Row Waterside Community there thanking the Chief Executive Officer of the Renaissance Communication Incorporated liability for the items geared towards the upcoming cleaning up exercise in the community. It remarks liability review that the youth leadership recently approaching seeking support to participate in a community cleanup exercise. Divorce of liability related development, a Liberian entrepreneur Teresa Whitford has appreciated the Renaissance Communication Incorporated direct member for his immense contributions to the society. And Whitford, who is owner of the Whitford Foundation, an institution that is rooted to producing locally made goods, recognizability contribution to the youth population, especially in the musical industry.
Actually, is learning from your work and have been doing across the country a lot. Most especially in zero industry, is still young person, see how this or young people in the difference in our society. So I realized because it is in home, it is washing actually we can be very listen to the and waiting to follow my to look at
The founder of the foundation, Madam Teresa Whitford, speaking when she presented one of the locally made call to liability here in Pennsylvania. Now to this development on the program, the Forum for Women of African Women Educationalists has officially launched its 2024 to 2028 strategic plan along with the that's a Fabi Mastercard Foundation based of phase two British program initiative in expanding access to education for marginalized girls and young women across Liberia. Serving as key official during the program, Liberia's Education Minister Dr. Jasu Gala described the initiative as a vital stepping stone for girls who are often outreached.
these young people are not finished. Systems have historically failed them. They're not dropping out. They're being pushed out. This is the context that makes phase two not just important, but urgent. The following message of the foundation partnership is in a charity. It is not benevolence. It is a correction, a deliberate attempt to make athletes the never of their black phase one, show us confidence, especially marginalized girls, make real investment. These results are small successes. They are host of content. Phase two, commitments to extend this work across 21 universities, 35 TED in Liberia.
The voice of Dr. She is the Minister of Education of the Republic of Liberia for inspired Fawi Liberia as as Executive Director. The Sheriff highlighted the organization of technical written educational equipment.
I want to tell you that you can't take it all seriously. After you don't know who you will run into, who will come your way. But to go like this, retire doesn't out. It's not the end of the world, but it's a chance to give you an opportunity to start something different. All of us will do that for one week. The beginning is you don't prepare for it, you feel it. That we prepare. Prepare me, doing your work diligently, teaching everybody, whether it's the person next to you, whether it's somebody from outside. Your new job is the job that you're doing that come out with nothing and you know the record.
The Director General of the General Service Agency, Lakbar Katumai, has commended the initiative implemented by the Confident Builder Vocational Training Institute in Israel. Speaking to our son, Katumai praised the institution's program, noting that they are making or will make contributions for the growth and advancement of young people across Liberia.
Hello, Dr. Right, I'm really okay. Usually, anything based on your target, based on your commitment. So I've just come to see the temples, and I think one of the partnership is going ahead. And at the level of the general service that you must see, material we have, we're also be helping the government boards on to see how they can impact the students or how other staff can help us with things done. And so I'm telling everyone, I want to thank the student body and the teaching staff and the group guidance and the program builder. I'm looking for anyone to do that because more than that, take it to the institution all over the place here. I think we don't ever need more permissions from the abroad to come and do the development. But then when we talk about infrastructure, it's our supposed to be our own infrastructure. So we want to thank the people of those government builders that do the money that are taking our support and children. We are all identified about.
Lakbar Kotimai is the Director General at the General Services Agency. There speaking when he visited the campus of the Confident Builder Vocational Training Institute in Pennsylvania, taking us home on today's edition of the program News Desk. I typically review a recap of our major developments from an Assistant Minister for Public Affairs at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Sylvester Freeman, criticizes the Bakakun administration for what he describes as a questionable $10 billion United States dollars project in Foyalofa County. Participants of a day-long public hearing organized by the Liberia Electricity Regulatory Commission called for major reforms within the country's electricity sector. The, the campaigners pushed for swift passage of the Women and Girls Protection Act. House of Representatives voted in favor of the bill to ban harmful practices in Liberia, but Representative Josiah Maviko raises a motion calling for extensive nationwide consultation. Now, with on Liberia, the authority chose to threaten GSA protesters. Amnesty says, we love to say many thanks to directors, contributors, correspondents for making today's edition of the program a success. Special thanks to the affiliate radio station for relaying this broadcast. Orange Liberia and EcoBank Liberia Limited are our sponsors on the program. Thanks to Daniel Dace, who said I continue to produce our sound, while Maya Torgbean was behind the camera. On behalf of the production crew, I've been a presenter, Johnson Emanuel.